So today we're going to be arguing, and by arguing I mean we're not going to argue, you're just going to let me know your thoughts, your opinion. I want the whole community involved. If you clicked in this video, you can't leave this video without letting me know your thoughts or your favorite artist for modern Pokemon specifically. In front of us you can see a bunch of slabs. Actually this is Yu-Gi-Oh, but I want to show this because this is actually kind of cool. But you can see a couple of slabs I picked out specifically, and this is obviously not going to cover everything because modern art, since when did they start doing crazy good art? Has it been like Shining Legends? Around that era and beyond, they've had a lot of fantastic Pokemon that are so insane, and it kind of explains why there's so much hype in the game right now and why so many collectors are entering the space and they just want these shiny cardboard. So what I'm going to go over today is some of my personal favorites, and I want to know your thoughts of your personal favorites. So at any point in this video you can pause, just let me know what is the best Pokemon modern art that came out, let's say post like 2017. It can be anything. Your personal favorite, but you can only pick one. That's the key. You can only pick one. While you add it, leave a like on this video. So first and foremost, the reason why there's a Yu-Gi-Oh card right here is because I just got this back from Beckett, and it's actually kind of cool. Check this out. This is a Blue Eyes White Dragon that was like a collab with the Japan Post. I think it was like 5,000 yen, something like that, which is equivalent to like maybe like 30 bucks. Obviously, when it came out, it kind of shot up a bit. But look at the art. This is sick. And this is the one I got gifted by my homie Casey, and it just got back from Beckett, and it is a BGS 10. I would love to know how much of these there are for Beckett. I would assume maybe like one or two. But you know how Beckett is. They don't like to show pop reports sometimes, so yeah. I guess we'll never know. But look at that. That art is insane. And unfortunately, this glare that's right in front of me is kind of like ruining the shine from the QCR. But yeah, pretty fire. Anyways, so I'll probably start with Pokemon slabs first. No particular order, just because I don't like ordering stuff. Because if I show you something last, it's like, oh, you think that's better? No, these are all my favorites right now. I do want to point out I don't have Umbreon. Not because I don't like Umbreon, I just never cared to go after it. And now I feel like it's so sought after. I will say it's overhyped. I think Umbreon is hella overhyped. But it is beautiful. And the only reason why I said in this video is because I just don't have it. I know right now. All right, first card. This is... Oh, I like the Zeraora. This is probably, if I was to put a tier list, I would put this closest to the bottom. But there's something about the Zeraora that I just absolutely love. Chill and Rain obviously wasn't like a big fan favorite, but this card is just so cool. Like, look at it. The way he's just sitting there on top of a peak, above the clouds, above the mountains. Like, this card is sick. I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I gotta pick this up because I feel like this is a lot cheaper compared to like a lot of modern Pokemon cards out there. And I know this is not something iconic that existed forever like Mewtwo or Charizard, stuff like that. But Zeraora, I feel like, is one of the most underrated legendaries that came out in like recent and modern Pokemon, just in my opinion. But this card is gas. Absolutely love this. I think I picked this up for like 70 bucks a couple years ago when it was, you know, in the 6 million certs of PSA. Again, back when Pokemon was a lot cheaper and people didn't really kill each other for it as much at, you know, Target and things like that. The next one. This is another one around that era. We have... Oh, so, funny story. You never see me pull this on camera. And I'm sick. Because I opened so many Fusion Strikes in the early days when it came out that I just stopped recording it. And one day I got a booster box. I'm not joking. In that booster box, I pulled... In that singular booster box, I pulled the Alt Art Gengar VMAX. And then this. And then I gifted the Gengar VMAX to one of my friends who was a big fan of Gengar. Because at the time, no one really cared about the Gengar. Now it's like a $1,000 card. But back then, it was like maybe like 80 bucks. And I think this was a bigger chase than the Gengar. I mean, this was my chase because I love this Mew. I mean, look at Mew surrounded by all the homies. Let me take out this little janky sleeve. Ooh, look at this. This is another cheap one. If you pick this up on eBay or whatever, or card shows, I'm sure you can get it for the super down low. But I feel like compared to some of the modern arts that exist, this probably will be amongst the cheap. Watch me be completely wrong, because I look up a single price before I sat down to record this video, and for all you know, this is like $1 billion card. Again, I'm not a big guy on prices. I don't really care. I don't like it when cards are just, the main focal point is prices. The reason why is because it kind of takes away from the card. It is cool seeing a card go up in price, you know, especially one that you own, but I hate when that becomes the main focus, which is why I don't ever like talk about prices or make it a focal point. I talk about prices, but it's never like a focal point. But this art, bruh, this is so sick. And I'm mad that I never, I don't have that pull on camera because for some reason, This is during my era where I was like kind of slowing down on like the videos. I was doing like daily content on my main channel and like 2 videos sometimes a day over there. So like, I didn't want to like edit everything. And so one day I sat down, I was like, you know what, let me just open this box. It's gonna have nothing in it. And then of course I pulled not just the Mew, but also the Gengar as well, which is insane. The next one, we got, I think this is Charizard probably. Oh no. Speaking of Umbreon. So I've told a story before. Take it off the sleeve as well. When Prismatic Evolution came out, I went to the Supreme Darkness. It's funny because I actually just got the PSA 10 Bow from this. I play this card, it's in my deck. I just got this from eBay. But I went to the release of Supreme Darkness because I wanted to pull this card for my deck at the time. And Prismatic Evolution just came out, and well, it's not just my girlfriend, but my wife, she was like, can we get 1 box of Prismatic? And I was like, you don't want that. I told the story before, but in case you're new, tell the story again. I was like, you don't want that because I heard the pull rates are awful. I watched some of the homies open up boxes and boxes and boxes. I saw everyone on Twitter talk about in social media how it's like the pull rates are awful. You don't want it. And we just watched one of our homies, big shout out to DBZ Steven, open like 4 ETBs at that time, pulled nothing out of it. And she was like, let's just get 1. I was like, sure. So we got that one, the singular one. We were at our locals, by the way, at Rare and Sleeveless in San Diego. And lo and behold, first and foremost, I pulled Bow in my box, which was insane because this was the chase at the time for that set. And then we get the Prismatic box with just 1 single ETB. I give it to my wife, and she's just going through the packs, and nothing. On the very last pack, I was like, there's no way. We walked away that day from pulling the 2 big releases that came out that same weekend. It was insane. So again, much love to Rare and Sleeveless if you were there. A lot of people can corroborate the story. Obviously, it sounds so unbelievable, like, oh yeah, you got 1 box. Yeah, right. I'm sure you got 1 box. But we did it at my locals, dog. And I do think this art is a lot better than the Umbreon. But I also might just be a hater right now. My problem with the original Umbreon is the fact that it's just so, like, talked about. And I think that honestly takes it away from me. It's just people talk about that Umbreon like it's like a first edition Shadowless Charizard. Like relax, bro. That card is like a pop 1 billion. Not to say that this probably isn't pop 1 billion at this point either, but I like this one because it's so much more unique with the art. I think the whole VMAX dynamic aspect, the gimmick that they have in Scarlet and Violet is kind of corny, but I don't see this as a VMAX. I just see this as an Umbreon with a crown, and it's kind of gas. I really like that. So yeah. By the way, people always say it's called it's Umbreon. This is not Umbreon, bro. It's a moon. It's a moon. If you look at every card that ever existed of Umbreon, there's always a moon behind them. Can we stop calling it Umbreon? It's moon. It's a moon. It's a Umbreon. To be fair, it does look like a sun, so I get it. I feel like no one's going to deny that one. That one's just cool. I feel like I'm gonna just say it too. I think this card is gonna be more desired than the actual Umbreon over time. Only because I feel like Umbreon will just hit that point where there's gonna be fatigue at some point. I also want to preface, I'm not hating on Umbreon for the card itself. I'm just tired of hearing about it. The card looks beautiful. Cannot deny that. It's definitely one of the more cooler looking recent card arts. The next one we got. Ooh. Actually, I gotta show you something with this. So I was at a card show with my homie CT, Agent DMG, and Aaron, his wife, and they bought one of these for a viewer. They were doing some kind of like community thing, and I always wanted this card, but I always waited. This and the VMAX. I don't have the VMAX, by the way. I do gotta get my hands on that as well. So that's an honorable mention in this video. I just don't have it. But I was meant to get both that and this. And honestly, I feel like these 2 cards were a lot better than the Umbreon for the longest. And I still think so. But I missed out on it. Now the price like shot up like crazy. But after watching them get it, I'm like, you know what? I think I'll go pick one up as well. So I picked one up. But here's the funny thing. I didn't just pick up a PSA 10. Well, funnier story. I first bought a raw copy, and then the very next day I went to a card show where I saw the PSA 10 for like $400, and I'm like, let's just get it. Because for all you know, the card that I bought is gonna be like a PSA 9. But then here's the kicker. Like 2 days later, I picked up a BGS 10. And the reason why I like BGS copies of Modern is because the pop is way lower. This is like a pop 1 billion, whereas this is like a pop like probably double digits, if not maybe like 100 or something like that. And before it's way more, but it's a lot less than PSA, and that's just because Beckett is way more strict with their cards than PSA. But the thing is, like, a lot of these Modern cards are already just flawless as is, and still somehow when you send this card to Beckett, they'll always find something that's wrong with it. It's like, oh yeah, the centering is a 9 or 9.5, then the surface is a 9.5, so it can't be a true 10. It's like, I'll be honest, a lot of times it's bullshit. Sometimes when you see a 9.5, you see why. You see like a random ding or a dot. But when Beckett gives you a 10 for modern, it is a true 10. Minus the error, 0.001% that happens sometimes. Sometimes you can see when it's obviously not a 10. But this is great. And for context, I think I paid like $550 for this. Again, the very next day. So, I mean, if the premium is an extra $150 on this, I think it's worth it. I think this card, when people realize how cool it is and that it exists, because everyone's so focused on Umbreon, it's gonna shoot up one day. And then it's like, shh, I should have bought it. So yeah, pick this up. I think this for $400 is super underrated. And especially if you find it in Beckett. Pick it up if you can. Trust me, because it's Rayquaza. Again, I do want to get my hands on a VMAX as well at some point, but I'm looking for a BGS 10. I mean, I guess I can get a PSA 10, but I want a BGS 10 just because they look a little bit better. The next card. Ooh, this is the one that started it all. We got Test Tube Mewtwo from Shining Legends. I'll never forget when I first saw this card, and this is like me exiting the era of like opening vintage left and right, and I was like, oh my god, modern Pokemon is insane. This card is so gorgeous. I want to get a BGS 10 of this, but it's so expensive now, and this card is just absolutely legendary. Like, look at the foiling and hollow pattern on Mewtwo himself. It's so sick. This, in my opinion, is like Picasso nowadays. Like, it's, if you don't have one of these, what are you doing? People going after Umbreon. Bro, go get a Test Tube Mewtwo, dog. Leave the Umbreon behind. It's gonna sound like a whole hater video by the end of this video, but I promise I'm not just a complete hater. I'm just you know, I'm just tired of it. It's fatigue. The next one, we got, oh, Garchomp. This is actually like $100, I think. I think it's underrated, especially with like every card I say is gonna be underrated in this video. But with the release of like the Garchomp from Destined Rivals with Cynthia, people forget that this card also exists, and this is super cheap. Again, I think I picked this up as a PSA 10 for like $50, maybe like 2 years ago, something like that, in the 6 million era. Or no, I graded this on myself. Yeah, I pulled this and graded this myself. I don't know which video. It was a while ago. Yeah, but I graded this for myself, if I remember correctly. But again, I love this just because once they started incorporating the Pokemon with their trainers, there was something that's just so special and magical about it that I wish they do way more. So I'm happy when they released Destined Rivals. That's why, another reason why I'm such a big fan of it, when they started doing that again. So that's why I want that Garchomp with Cynthia, because that art is way better than this one. But this is the OG. Can't hate on this. Also, I'm pretty sure it's cheap, so again, pick it up. The next one, this one is like a pop, literally 1 billion. But there's something about this Celebi that I love. I remember when this came out in Japan, I was like, wasn't it like a lottery in Japan or something like that? It was hard to get. I remember that much. And I was like, I can't wait for this to come out in English. And then when it came out in English, I think this was a promo card, and it was like a pop 1 billion. And there was a moment in time where with modern Pokemon, I just avoided anything that was pop 1 billion, just because I was like, at some point the price is gonna keep going down. It's doing the opposite now because there's more and more people coming in, and these like pop 6,000 cards suddenly still are being sought after. But I saw this at the San Diego Card Show a couple weeks ago, and I was like, you know what? $200 for a PSA 10? Sure. I think it's raw. It's like a $75 card. So if you happen to get one, it's good quality, get it graded. So I figured 200 is good. But even though Celebi's not one of my favorite Pokemon, this art is just immaculate. Just look at it. There's something about it that's just so beautiful. Ooh! Love this card. And the next one and final one, I think you guys should know what this is. It is none other than the Charizard V-Star versus Mewtwo. Two of my favorite Pokemon in one. One thing I will always be annoyed about this is this was a promo card. In Japan, I believe you have to pull it if I remember correctly. And that's also a pop 1 billion now, because Japan quality is a lot better. But for this, when I found out that this is a promo card and you didn't have to pull for it, it kind of deflated my chase for it. So that's why, for the longest, I didn't care. I picked it up a couple years ago and just kind of like, you know, kept it in my collection. But now I'm seeking a BGS 10 copy of this. Reason why is because, look, I picked up the Mewtwo actually recently as well. I think this is like $400 for a BGS 10, which I think was a steal in my opinion. Because again, when you look at BGS versus PSA, because of how strict BGS is, there's a lot less 10s than there are. For example, did y'all know this in the BGS 10 is a pop 4? Pop 4. And then you know what's even more annoying? I remember I graded both the Charizards of BGS, and they both came back 9.5s, but they were strong 9.5s. If I remember correctly, it was like a 9.5, 9.5, 10, 10. And then the other one was like a 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, 10. And remember, to get a 10, you need at least 3 10s and then 1 9.5. And of course, if all 4, then you get a black label. But this is before I realized you could review cards, so I got rid of them, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm seeking this to pop 4. The most recent sale I saw was on eBay. I think it sold for like $1,400 for a BGS 10, which sounds insane for a promo card is cheap. But again, promo cards actually are not the best condition, and with how they're kept, getting a perfect 10 is really, really difficult. So that being a BGS 10 or pop 4 BGS 10 tells you something. So if anybody happens to see this video, if you're one of the 4 people that has that card and you want to sell it to me, hit me up. I'm not going to pay you $1 billion for it. I'm gonna offer you what it sold for recently as well. But yeah, love this card. Again, you take 2 of my favorite cards from Gen 1, Charizard and Mewtwo in 1. Like, are you kidding me? And then we get the inverse and Crown Zenith. Like, are you serious? This card is insane. Insane. And I cannot believe that I got this for $400 for a BGS 10. Again, some of these cards existing in super low pop and BGS 10 and being that affordable is nuts. But then, like, you'll see cards like, I think Umbreon on average is like a $4,000, $5,000 card as a BGS 10 versus, like, you know, the $2,000 or $3,000 in PSA 10. But there's gonna be a lot of these like alt arts that are, or alt arts, SRS, full arts in BGS 10 that are like super cheap. So keep an eye out. If you want a PSA 10, I always recommend look up to see if a BGS 10 copy exists first. And if it does, pick that up. Because again, this $400 for a 10 is an insane price in my opinion. All right. Now we're down to 3. And I think these 3 are amongst the best modern Pokemon cards ever released. Let me see which order that. I wanna. Yeah, this is a good order. This is a good order. The first one. Speaking of promo cards. Ooh. Again, what annoyed me about this was a promo card. Again, you have to pull this in the Japanese side. And when I found out that I couldn't pull for this, I kind of stopped caring about Tag Team at the time. But this card art is so perfect to me. Again, focusing on Gen 1, seeing both Mew and Mewtwo in the same card. Are you kidding me? Bro, this is like chef's kiss. And once again, compared to the PSA brethren, way lower pop. And now, by the way, I want y'all to know, I picked this card up for like $200 probably like a year ago. I'll be real with you, maybe like 2 years ago. Like $200, which is insane. Nobody cared. Now, I'm seeing these cards listed for like 4 figures. Like, I'm seeing PSA 10 sell for like $2,000, $1,000, $1,500 in that neighborhood. I don't know the exact number, but I've seen quadruple digits. I've also seen listings of this as a BGS 10 for like $4 grand on eBay that no one's buying. It's a listing, but like, it's people obviously are not paying attention to Tag Team. I think that's all because of the Latios and Latias, the Lovebirds. But this, in my opinion, I think is the best Tag Team card released. I know a lot of people are on the Latios, Latias train, but I'll be real with you. I think it's only because the cards are hard to pull. This is way better art. I said what I said. If you can pick this up at PSA, definitely do it. If you happen to find a BGS 10, which sometimes they pop up on eBay in auction format, I would recommend it. Definitely if you want to pick it up and, you know, sit on it as a collectible. Because again, I don't want to focus on pricing that much, but, you know, this in the BGS slab is definitely a much better collectible than a PSA one. I mean, I ain't got to explain that to you, but love that art. And by the way, no, none of this is for sale. I'm always going to get like, oh yeah, is this for sale? No, this is my personal collection. As you know me, or if you don't know me, I almost never sell my cards. If I do, it's because I'm getting rid of my extra slabs, usually to get something else. The next one of the OG fire cards from Modern. We got the Charizard V. Again, another card that in BGS, on the BGS side, I think there's an auction ending today. Not today, but like in the next couple of days. I have no idea when this is going to get uploaded. I think there's a couple on eBay where they're probably going to be pretty expensive. But again, I was there at the right place at the right time. I bought this for like $400 a year ago. I'm happy I picked up the cards that I wanted in the past like year for the Modern side and BGS when I did, because now a lot of these are super unobtainable. God, this card is sick. We got the OG Charizard versus Venusaur. Did we ever get an alternate version where it's Venusaur versus Charizard? I don't think we did we? Yeah, I don't think we did, but this is so cool. I picked this up primarily because I always wanted to own a BGS 10 Charizard, And at the time, this is the only one that was like a good price when I looked it up. And I was like, hey, this is one to own because this, again, immaculate. For the next one, we got a honorable mention. We got the Lugia V. Why is it an honorable mention? Because I got the BGS 10 of that as well. So funny story. As you guys know, Lugia is my favorite Pokemon of all time. I don't even gotta, explain that to you. But when I was smart to do this. When I started buying modern Pokemon cards instead of getting PSA 10s, which were pop 1 billion, I always looked at BGS 10s. And every now and then when one popped up, the prices always kind of matched. For some reason, especially like a year ago when no one really focused on modern that much, or even 2 years ago, I don't remember exactly when I bought this. It's a 15 million cert. I remember I looked this up. I'm like, PSA 10, sure, I can get it for like 300 bucks, or I can just get the BGS version, and I got it for like 300 bucks. No, I think this one was 400 bucks, if I remember correctly. Yeah, but this is honestly what made me fall in love with modern Pokemon even more. I mean, obviously, the test tube Mewtwo came out. I graded myself, I pulled it myself. 2 million cert. I had that for a long time, but I was always kind of like very iffy on modern Pokemon up until this came out. I even have tweets, if I remember correctly, where I'm like, if they ever do an Altar Lugia or an SIR, I'm gonna go crazy. Fortunately, I never actually. No, I did pull this. Yes, I did pull this. This is the one that wait, is this the one that I pulled? This might have been the one that I pulled. Because I remember, so check this out. I went to Target, I bought a handful of packs, opened it, again, didn't think much of it, pulled the Lugia. And I can't remember if I sent that to PSA. No, this was the one that I pulled. This is the one that I bought. Okay, so this is the story. I'm mixing it up. I pulled this one from a Target pack. I remember we bought like 12 packs. Again, no one was buying Pokemon packs at the time, so mentioning 12 packs today is crazy, but back then, nobody really cared. On top of that, Silver Tempest was never really that popular. But I remember we pulled it, and I was like, I'm just sitting there at like 10 o'clock. We just got back from Target. I'm like, why didn't I record this? You idiot, you jackass. After I pulled this, by the way, I never did that thing again where now I'm opening packs off camera without at least having a camera in the background. Now at least I throw out the camera just in case. But I pulled it. It was a PSA 10. I cracked it out, which is crazy. Sent it to BGS 10. Boom. Yeah, that's the story. The reason why I confused it is because I love ARS slabs a lot because I love how clean they look. They feel like trophies. And I remember a couple of months ago, I was like, damn, it'd be kind of hype having a Lugia as a BGS 10. And that's before, or as an ARS 10. That's before I graded this one. I pulled this Lugia and then graded it with ARS. And then I looked up on eBay, and for some reason, the timing was so divine. Because I open up eBay and I see a Pop 1 ARS 10 Lugia for $600 just for buy now. And this is like, and just mind you, that was pretty expensive. Because Lugia as a PSA 10 is like a $300 card, $400 card, somewhere in that neighborhood. And so seeing that for $600, I'm like, that's crazy. Because you know, normally when people list the cards, they'll list it for way more than they actually like, that they'll sell it for. But unfortunately, me seeing ARS and seeing Pop 1, I'm like, I am buying this. I am absolutely getting this right now because this looks so sick. Again, got the 10. If you don't know what ARS is, it's a Japanese grading company that specializes mostly in Yu-Gi-Oh, as you can see. And they also do like Pokemon, White Schwartz, and stuff like that as well. One Piece. But I love their slabs because their slabs feel like trophies. And then they also display the grade in the back. So if you get like a bad grade, for example, my Dragon Master Magia that I pulled, 9. You gotta know that. It's just, like the focus isn't a grade. There's one thing I don't like about grading sometimes is it's so much focus on the number rather than on the card itself. And that's something that I feel like that ARS just solves that issue. So it's like if you get a bad grade, rather than seeing that eyesore sometimes, which is fun, it's hypocritical of me to say, but it does stand out. Sometimes when you see that 9, you're just like, oh, why though? It does kind of like take away from the card. The card is still fire, but sometimes seeing that grade can be off-putting. But what ARS does is they solve that by literally putting the grade behind. I like that a lot. So that's why I actually, funny story, when I went to Japan last December, I cracked out. I didn't even crack it out. I brought my BGS 9 Lugia that I pulled from like a couple years ago, and I just submitted the slab straight up. I'm like, yeah, just let me know what you give. This was the 9, obviously. So it went from 9 to 9. But it's cool to have that in one as well. But I wanted this one specifically, and I just happened to see one pop on that day. So I'm like, wow, that is divine. I am buying this right now. So yeah, definitely I gotta say, this is by far my most favorite one. But with that said, let me know your thoughts of what you think is the best looking modern. Again, if it happens to be Umbreon, it's perfectly fine. I don't hate Umbreon. I'm just tired of seeing it. That's all. I'm just tired of the only being a focus of Umbreon. It's like, what about the other ones? Every Pokemon is beautiful. Look at the other cards as well. Don't only focus on the one. That's just how I see it every time I hear the Umbreon discussion. I think the card is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. But yeah. Again, one last thing. If you have a BGS 10 of this, hit me up. If you, of course, want to sell it, we can discuss. Again, my offer is going to be similar to what recent sale was. Otherwise, I might just try to buy a 9.5 and then try to cross it. Maybe there's like a 9.5 that has like a 9.5, 9.5, 10 subgrade somewhere. And if the card looks good enough, spam it to BGS until eventually they're like, yeah, that's a 10. It's a pop 5 card at that point. That's it. Let me know your thoughts on your favorite modern cards. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Also, again, disclaimer, the cards missing in this, obviously, I don't have them all. So if there's something that's also missing, feel free to let me know down below. But this is just cards that, to me, stood out the most. If there's something that I forgot about, because there's a lot of crazy cards out there, then, you know, maybe I just didn't remember at the time. But again, no diss to the cards that are left out. That's all I'm saying. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next upload.